You can't classify situations that happen in your life as good and bad. If you're able to know if something is good or bad, then you better know the infinite possibilities of every outcome that could come as a result of that thing having happened. Like, for example, if you go through a hardship with a friend, for example, maybe you guys stop being friends and there's a little bit of drama, right? How do you know it's actually a bad thing or a good thing for this drama to be occurring? Typically, we attribute drama as bad. Typically. And typically we identify hardships and hatred between people as a bad thing. But how do we know that a specific instance of a ceased friendship is good or bad? How can you possibly know? And what if in the moment you think it's bad, and then 5 months later you look back and you see, that's the best thing that's ever happened to me. So in the moment you thought it was bad, and now that you can see the bigger picture, you can see it as being good. Another example, someone wins the lottery. They think it's good. Normally our first reaction to receiving wealth, money, attention, fame, anything of that sort that makes us happy is good. It's a good thing. So what if there's a statistic out there, somewhere in the world, that 70% of people that win the lottery end up broke within 7 years? It's like, is that still good? Is that still good? And maybe it is. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Maybe you win the money and you have a great life and you're happy and you have a wife and kids and everything's great. But how do you know? And that's simply what I'm trying to bring up, is that you never know. You never really know. And even after the fact, you will never figure it out. There's no way to figure it out because you'll never know the potential infinite realm of possibilities of outcomes that will come as a result of anything that happens. By me making this video, I think it's going to be good. I'm maybe going to help people, educate people, inform people, give advice, whatever it is that I'm trying to do here. Maybe I'm trying to get attention, whatever I think is good. But how do I know it's good? What if when I post this video, I lose all my followers? Everyone hates me now. And I lose my fan base. So it's like, how do I know that what I'm doing right now is good? I don't. And I'm not classifying it as good. I'm not identifying it in my head as a good thing or a bad thing. Because I know that I don't know. I don't know, and it's okay not to know. We pretend like we know what's going on, but the truth is, we haven't the slightest clue. A lot of people, they have to come up with a reason for why things are happening. But the simple fact, majority of the time, is that we don't know. I'm not saying that there isn't a reason. There most definitely is. I'm a very strong believer in that there's a reason for everything. Everything has a meaning, whatever. But how can you be so sure that you know what it is? To say that everything happens for a reason doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna be on a short term for your benefit. Maybe it's a long-term benefit. Another example, someone's born with a disease. They think, oh, I'm gonna die in 20 years. Nothing matters, and nothing will ever be good for me, and it's always gonna be bad. I know the outcome. The outcome is bad, definitely. Well, hold on, stop. First of all, you don't know that you're gonna live less than people. Second of all, the doctor tells you, let's say it's predestined even, that you're gonna die at 20 years old. How do you know that life won't be the best lived 30 years ever to have been lived in the history of the world? What if you're going to do something that's quadruple as great as people who live 120 years old? As a 30-year-old, how do you know that you're not going to solve cancer? How do you know that as a 30-year-old, you're not going to inspire the world? How do you know that you're not going to overcome the disease and then inspire the world in front of a crowd of 1,000 people? Imagine standing in front of a crowd and speaking on the microphone and telling people with the greatest might that you've ever had, I beat cancer, for example. I beat this. I overcame this hardship, that it was predestined, that everyone thought this was going to happen. I even thought this was going to happen, but I overcame that hardship. Think about the emotions, the amazing feeling that you will be inside of during that time. There's no comparison. In the moment you think it's bad, in retrospect you'll see it as good. It's always been that way. With everything that's ever happened in lifetime, whenever you grow older, you realize how insignificant the problems that you had while you were younger actually were. And that doesn't mean that they weren't important. Every single thing that happens is equally as important, because everything causes everything that happens. So if one thing that happened didn't happen, then the way that your life is right now wouldn't be the way that it is right now. I'm talking about a napkin falling on the floor. I'm talking about the moment that you stubbed your toe when you were 7 years old. Every single thing that has ever happened in your entire life has contributed an equal amount to your current position in life. So, viewing those situations as good or bad is foolish. It's wrong. Because judgments are always premature. Whenever you grow older, 2 years, let's say, you know what, even 2 months from today, maybe in retrospect, you'll view it as one of the best things that have ever happened to you. In the moment, maybe today, right now, you're saying, this is bad, this is hard, I don't like it, it's bad for me. You feel like nothing's going the way that it should be. You feel like, you know, something's not right here. But then, let's say, 2 months later, you have a bigger picture of what's going on. You see what's happening more clearly. So you look back on the event that you classified initially as a bad thing, as a bad event, and now you identify it as maybe one of the best things that has ever happened to you. That's happened to all of us. You judge something prematurely, you end up finding out it's good. Or you end up judging a person too prematurely, then you end up finding out that they're nice. Or you end up seeing the truth in every situation. So it's not just that you become more optimistic. Over time, things become more clear. You start seeing truth more easily and more often. You're seeing what's the reality in those situations, which you weren't able to see in the moment when you were emotionally involved. Every situation is only a situation because you're emotionally involved. It wouldn't be a problem or an issue in your life if you weren't experiencing any negative emotion. There would be no negative situation if there's no negative emotion. Because the negative emotion is the perspective that gives it the title of a negative situation. For something to be a negative situation, you have to classify it as a negative situation. The way you classify it is through your mindset, through your emotional state. And so, the emotions that you experience during a situation, dictate whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. If you've stubbed your toe, if you feel pain, you view it as a bad experience. But what if you didn't stub your toe, you would have stubbed your other toe and broke your foot? Then, stubbing your toe is good. Because if you didn't stub your toe, it would be even worse. So it's like, in the moment, we have limited information, we always only see one piece of the puzzle, and it will forever stay that way. So that's why judgments are always and forever will continue to be premature. And so the smartest thing to do with this knowledge is to stop judging things as often as we do. And even if we want to judge things and we can't help ourselves, don't say it to people. Don't talk about it. Keep your judgments to yourself. You know, you might think something is good. You might think something is bad. But don't believe that it is. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can think that something is good. You can think that something is bad. But don't follow that thought as a belief. Don't act it out into your world. Don't let your emotions and your reality get influenced by the false perspective that you've adopted to be your mentality on life and the false narrative that you've been living your entire life. And you're going to continue to live. Because we need to have some sort of stability and some sort of sense of understanding about life and about the situations and experiences that we encounter. So we're always going to revert to judgment. Oh, this is good, this is bad. This is going to help me with this, is going to hurt me with that. But really, the truth is you don't know. It's something I learned this year and something I'm hoping to relay onto you. If it helps you, then that's, my job fulfilled.